It's not every day a hit sitcom just vanishes. Two Broke Girls ran for 6 seasons, aired over 130 episodes, and ranked among the most recognizable comedies on CBS. Dennings and Beth Behrs brought Max and Caroline to life with sass and chemistry that struck a chord with viewers. Yet in 2017, the show was canceled with no warning, no finale, and no resolution to its characters' stories. To fans, the decision felt arbitrary, sudden, even cruel. But the truth behind the cancellation is far more layered, involving sharp ratings declines, backlash from critics, problematic portrayals, and a high-stakes corporate standoff between two media giants. Let's trace how a show that once sparkled in syndication gold lost its luster, and ultimately, its place in the CBS lineup. Two Broke Girls premiered on September 19, 2011, created by Michael Patrick King and stand-up comedian Whitney Cummings. The concept was refreshingly simple. A rich girl who loses everything joins forces with a street-smart waitress in Brooklyn, and together they dream of opening a cupcake business. Critics were skeptical. Early reviews were lukewarm at best. The Hollywood Reporter called it a disappointment, acknowledging the show's potential but lamenting its reliance on tired humor. Vulture went further, questioning the show's meanness rather than just its jokes. "Does it have to be so mean?" the review asked, pointing to the punch-down style of the comedy. Yet while the critical press sneered, viewers tuned in. The pilot attracted nearly 19 million viewers, becoming one of the most watched new sitcom debuts of the decade. It was slotted comfortably behind 2.5 Men, and the numbers gave CBS a reason to celebrate. For a while. As the series progressed, something became painfully clear. While Max and Caroline had sharp banter and a believable friendship, the show's reliance on crass, edgy, and at times offensive humor became its Achilles heel. The supporting characters, most of whom made up the diner's staff and customers, were deeply criticized for racial and cultural stereotyping. Han Lee, played by Matthew Moy, was often the butt of jokes based on his accent and perceived lack of cultural awareness. Critics from outlets like The New Yorker noted that he was conceived in terms so racist it is less offensive than baffling. Matthew Moy defended his portrayal, telling the LA Times, "The comedy on Two Broke Girls always comes from a place of love. It's never mean. We often go right to the edge." Beth Behrs echoed a similar sentiment in Entertainment Weekly, noting that people are always going to have a problem with something. But the criticism didn't go away. In fact, it grew. A 2016 review from the Boston Globe asked outright, "Is Two Broke Girls the worst sitcom on television?" Still, the show kept pushing boundaries. Its humor wasn't just edgy, it was gleefully raunchy. One 2017 article in the Washington Post called it the filthiest show on network television. Meanwhile, the FCC was regularly fielding complaints. In 2014 alone, 91 formal viewer complaints were filed over the show's language and sexual innuendos, as documented by a source. Yet even as critics sharpened their pens, CBS kept the show on air. Why? One word: syndication. In 2012, Warner Brothers Television, Two Broke Girls production company, struck a syndication deal with TBS worth a reported $1.7 million per episode. That was a record-setting deal at the time for a sitcom not named Big Bang Theory. But here's the rub. CBS, the network airing the show, didn't own it. They were merely licensing it from Warner Brothers. That meant they didn't share in the syndication profits, and this is where the real conflict began to simmer. For a time, the partnership worked. CBS got a ratings winner, Warner Brothers cashed in on syndication, and viewers kept watching. But behind the scenes, this imbalance in profit sharing caused friction. By the time the 6th season rolled around, negotiations between CBS and Warner Brothers had reportedly become intense, as described by a source in 2017. CBS had no financial incentive to keep the show running long-term. With syndication already secured and licensing costs potentially increasing, it wasn't hard to see where things were heading. Although the show remained one of CBS's better-performing comedies, it couldn't avoid the gravity of audience fatigue. According to data from TV series Finale, the season 6 premiere in October 2016 brought in over 6.3 million viewers. By April 2017, the season finale drew just over 4.5 million. That's a loss of nearly 2 million viewers in just one season. To put that into context, CBS renewed comedies like Man with a Plan and Life in Pieces that same year, both of which had comparable or worse ratings. So what made Two Broke Girls different? Ownership. CBS had partial or full ownership of most of its other sitcoms. That meant more money, more control, and more reason to keep them alive. In contrast, Two Broke Girls had become a profitable asset for a different company. It was business, not necessarily creative quality, that influenced CBS's final call. The cancellation came abruptly. There were no farewell interviews or victory laps. The season 6 finale had not been written to close out the show's arcs. In fact, the writers had expected to return for a 7th season. Showrunner Michelle Nader told TV Line that, "This is not the end for these girls. We're not finished, and we don't want to be finished. I don't think the audience is finished," she said. Kat Dennings also voiced her disappointment in an interview, lamenting the missed opportunity for closure. "Maybe one day we'll wrap it all up with a 2-hour special where we see all of these things happen," she said. "I think the people that watched the show for so many years deserve some closure." Kelly Call, CBS scheduling chief at the time, later explained the decision. "We felt creatively it was time," he said in an interview. "Our comedy development this year was very good, and whenever your comedy development is really good, it puts a lot of pressure on some of your older shows." In other words, there was new content in the pipeline, and Two Broke Girls no longer fit the evolving tone CBS was cultivating. In the years since its cancellation, Two Broke Girls hasn't quite entered the classic sitcom canon. It lacks the nostalgic glow of Friends or the cultural impact of The Office. But for 6 seasons, it carved out its own space on network TV, giving 2 actresses center stage and a generation of viewers something sharp and sometimes problematic to chew on. Its legacy is messy but not meaningless. It represents a turning point when network TV's old formulas collided with modern standards of representation, taste, and profit sharing. And in that clash, Two Broke Girls found itself caught in the middle. Thanks for watching this video. If you want more content from this channel, you can kindly subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell button to be notified of our latest videos. If you also enjoyed watching this video, you can show your support by giving the video a thumbs up, and you can also share your thoughts in the comment section down below.